let's jump in.
Okay.
Extract review time. We want to review all the extracts that we made in January, how they're coming along, and we hope this is helpful. Just a month-to-month check-in. It only takes about 5 minutes to just check in on each one of these extracts so you can see how they're progressing. A lot of people will wonder if theirs are progressing the same or the right way. So now, you'll have a record every single month of these so we can show you how they're progressing. We can let you know it's okay. If it doesn't smell the way you want it after 3 months, it's okay.
Still have time.
So let's look at each one of these. Should we do it?
I'm going to need my granny glasses.
Your glasses?
I know some of you understand this because I can't read a thing without them. Okay, this is our Gingrich.
The Gingrich.
Now, Paul actually uses sous vide, so this isn't the exact recipe that he uses, but it's made with Maker's Mark, and we just wanted to smell what it smells like right now.
So yes, this was made with a bourbon, Madagascar beans and Maker's Mark bourbon. Now again, we're going to get a sous vide, and we're actually going to make a real Gingrich. This is like a knockoff Gingrich, but you're very kind to indulge us. We just wanted to make sure that Paul Gingrich was included.
That's right.
Because he's such an awesome member. So this has been sitting for 3 months, Madagascar beans, Maker's Mark bourbon, and what I smell after 3 months with bourbon is bourbon. That's still what you smell. Now,
yep.
You can certainly start getting the different vanilla smells coming through slightly. It's subtle, but bourbon is a very strong alcohol because it's bourbon and the way that it's aged and used. And so bourbon is the one that probably takes the longest before you really start smelling that wonderful, vanilla extract scent. So if we had made it in a sous vide, probably a little further along, and we are going to do that. We're getting a sous vide, and we'll have an episode on actually using it so you can see how that works.
Yes.
But so far, progressing as we would expect. More booze than alcohol, still good. Next one.
This is our other extract. This is the Ramona made with
Buffalo Trace bourbon.
She loves her Buffalo Trace bourbon.
And we love Ramona.
We do. And these beans are also Madagascar, but these are cut beans. And so let's just see if there's a difference here. This is a little more subtle, not as strong, but still quite bourbon.
Yeah, you can smell really the bourbon come through first.
But the
very
bourbon
small
is
hints,
very nice.
But I think the difference too is probably related to the bourbon. The Buffalo Trace seemed to be just a little softer than the Maker's Mark. Maker's Mark was a little more powerful, so it depends if
caramely.
you're. But caramely.
Yeah.
So it was thick on the caramel, where not so much as the Buffalo Trace. Hold it up to the light, you can see it still kind of looks like the color of bourbon. I'm holding it to the window so you can see the light come through. So it's more bourbon than vanilla, and that's expected. So all of you who have made extract and you can't help yourselves and you have to go down and sniff it all the time because you're just curious, if you made it with a bourbon and you're 3 months along, you're still going to smell more bourbon than vanilla. Mm-hmm. That's pretty normal. Okay, next one.
Okay, this is our Willis Fortune
from
Carol, and this is also Madagascar beans with kettle vodka.
So Madagascar beans with kettle vodka. The other.
Oh wow!
Really?
Wow.
Let's see. Isn't this fun? We still get excited about it.
We do.
So these
we're
beans,
geeks.
we're extract geeks, vanilla geeks. These beans were cut and sliced, as I recall,
yes.
And so they're in the Kettle One vodka.
What do you think?
Oh wow!
Already.
Oh my gosh!
Already.
Oh my gosh, Carol! This is Willa's Fortune. This is absolutely. I mean, it's just a basic cut vanilla bean in Kettle One vodka, and we'll have to give Kettle One its due because that already smells really good. You can still get kind of the medicinal alcohol in it, but it's very subtle, and you get kind of the earthy notes of the vanilla in there mixed in with
I think it's because
with the
vodka is
sweetness.
pure. We're getting more of the bean.
We're getting the bean. But that is, after 3 months, the vodka with the Madagascar that's been cut and slit is really coming along nicely.
Oh, hi, Paul.
Hey, Paul! We've been talking about you, Paul. If you just joined us, you'll have to catch the rerun.
Okay.
Someone made some in Maker's Mark and Kirtland French vodka and some in white rum. Annette, those are all wonderful choices. You're going to love each one of those. Maker's Mark, Kirtland vodka is really good, the Costco vodka, as well as white rum, like a Bacardi or a Captain Morgan. Those are going to be fantastic, whatever it is you use.
And I love how you're mentioning what you guys use, because this is helpful for everyone everyone else when they're wondering, you know, what do I use?
Yep.
Put it out there. Let us all know. What do you like?
Thank you for sharing. Hello, everyone. This is Rebecca Diaz Castro. Hello, Rebecca. Glad to have you.
Okay, so this is the Therese.
The Therese.
And this is also with vodka with Grey Goose. This, we did not cut the beans.
These were whole beans, uncut. So we're kind of comparing the Carol, the Willa's Fortune with the Therese.
This is still very sweet. Maybe not as much as Willa's Fortune, but maybe we compare the color here.
Yeah,
so you can see.
there's still, you're not getting as much of a strong vanilla as you are. As I hold these up to the light, you can see that the one that's been slit is a little bit darker versus the one that hasn't. This one's still very light. So there's just...
But not by much.
Not by much, but there's no question that cutting the beans open and exposing the caviar helps expedite the extraction process, at least a little initially. Yeah. In a year, they're both going to be great. The question is if you're in a rush and you want to maybe cheat and try to use them for the holidays, even though we're this far into the year, you can certainly try by slicing your beans open. They're always going to be best at that year mark, but we've had great extracts after 90, 180 days that we've cheated on and we've used in the past for some of our cooking, because it can work. Let's see. Paul says, this is important. Check my sous vide extracts yesterday. A bit over 5 months since he started. Kettle One vodka is close enough and ready to use.
Woo!
Maker's Mark has softened significantly, but still has bourbon background. We'll recheck both in another month. So
stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Paul, thank you.
Thank you.
So there you go. Within the sous vide method, he's 5 months into it, and he feels like they're already ready to go. So Paul, great update. Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
We're glad to see it. So sous vide, certainly an effective method.
Yes.
Okay, what do we have next?
We have...
Oh, only the Starlet
Mocha Coca.
Mocha
That's
Coca.
what I call it.
Starlet extract. I love it.
Okay, I'm going to go get everything we need.
You want to get everything we need? Okay, so you'll remember, this is 1/2 Madagascar beans, 1/2 Indonesian beans, kind of mixing the buttery with the smoky a little bit. And then you'll recall we put in the coffee beans for about 5 weeks, because we had an extra week there between shows. So we had the coffee beans in for 5 weeks. We pulled those out last time, a month ago. We replaced them with cocoa nibs. Now it's time to empty out the cocoa nibs and just leave the vanilla beans to let it start extracting. So we're going to crack this open and smell it.
Yes.
Ooh, that's on there tight. There we go. Some of those crystals will form, and it's on there pretty tight. Okay, so we're going to smell this here for the first time. I know, we love this bottle. Oh my gosh. Starlet, it's better than I imagined.
You know what's interesting is that the first thing you get is the coffee, but then right after that you get this strong cocoa scent.
Yeah.
At first it's a coffee, and then all of a sudden the cocoa comes through.
Now Starlet makes it clear in her recipe that this is always to your liking. So if you were to open it right now and if it was too chocolate and not enough coffee, well, you could pull out the cocoa nibs and add coffee beans for another month, or the other way around. If it was still too much coffee and not enough cocoa, you could pull, or the other way around, you could leave the cocoa nibs in for another month if you wanted more chocolate. So I'm smelling both. I really am getting the mocha. I mean, exactly what she's looking for. The coffee plus the chocolate. And the vanilla, oh my gosh, it's wonderful.
And Starlet is always saying it's not exact. You have to kind of just go with what you think. If you think it needs more coffee, add more coffee beans. If you think it needs more cocoa, she's go by how you feel. You know, and I like that about her. She's like, it's not a straight science. It's you know, do what you like.
Deborah asked really quick about the sous vide, what temp and how long. Deborah, if you go to our extract recipes in our recipe blog, you'll see a recipe called the Gingrich, and it has all of the instructions there. Paul will probably post a response here, but you'll see all of the instructions there. So we're going to go ahead now and strain the coffee or the cocoa nibs from the vanilla beans. Now Starlet, I'm already, as I see these beautiful coffee or cocoa nibs coming out, you're going to have to give it a real vigorous shake. I am sure that you have a use for dried cocoa nibs after you're done here. And so maybe you could post, if you're able to right now, what do you do with the dried cocoa nibs after you pull them out? I'm curious to know what that use is, because you just hate getting rid of any of these. So it takes a minute to kind of shake them all out. We got them. We might leave 1 or 2 in there because... No, let's get them all out there. So the other reason, as you'll see right now, that we use this big French square bottle for this extract is we knew that we would be adding different things inside. And so if you had like a tight neck right now and you were trying to get out cocoa nibs or coffee beans, it would be really, really difficult.
Yeah.
So we use the French square with a wide open neck.
If you remember, Starlet had us tie these beans. So the caviar is still intact. We just tied them in a knot, and then they fit perfectly into the jar. You don't have to worry about stuffing them in, and then the caviar is still safe.
Yep.
Pretty ingenious,
They're
huh?
whole beans, so they're
Whole
going to
beans.
extract a little more traditionally, which means they're going to take a little more time. Half Madagascar, half Indonesian. We're getting all the cocoa nibs off.
But you're saving the caviar.
But you're saving the caviar, so you'll be able to use it later. Let's see if Starlet has said what she does with the cocoa nibs. Not yet. We might post that in one of the comments.
Donna Price, grind up the cocoa nibs and using cocoa in brownies.
Oh, there you go. Donna.
There you go.
There you go. Donna is the employee, or the group member of the moment. Thank you, Donna.
There's
the group
always
member of the moment.
always a way to repurpose this stuff. I
Always.
just love. I'm searching through here to make sure I do not.
We don't want to miss a vanilla bean.
Yeah, I'm not gonna miss a vanilla bean. So we're just gonna put these in the sink here.
Well, let's hold on to
Yeah,
them.
put them in the sink there.
And then we will grind them up and we'll play around with that. Now we're using a funnel and just pouring the extract back into the bottle.
Now you're gonna have a little less because.
All of the displacement.
Yep.
And so Starlet could answer this. Starlet, we have a little bit less because of the displacement of the cocoa nibs as well as the coffee beans that we use. So Starlet, do you top it off with a little more Bacardi Gold? Or obviously we'll make sure all these vanilla beans get underneath the fluid, which is easy to do in this jar.
Well, I think you would definitely just top it off with a little more and then let it sit for the,
Because we're 3 months into it, we've got 9 months to go.
Yeah.
So we could probably top it off with just a little more Bacardi Gold and then let the vanilla extraction begin.
But we wanted to leave this so you could see what the displacement would be,
Mhm.
right? Because you got to remember that was full of coffee beans and it was also full of cocoa nibs. So there is a displacement. You have to remember that.
So when you're planning your extracts, you know, sometimes everybody wants like the cute little small jars, which are really fun for gifts, and definitely use those. But when you're actually making it, the bigger, the wider, the better. You know, has been our experience. So there we go, Starlet.
So we'll top this off later with some more rum.
With some more Bacardi Gold, same kind of rum. We'll put in just a little bit more, and then we're going to let that sit for 9 months, and we'll see what happens. So Starlet, thank you again for that. We appreciate it, and we're excited. We'll keep updating these on a monthly basis and let you know where we're at. But that's where we're at with the first extracts that we made. Now, it's time. We're going to deviate a little bit from extract making because we try to cater this. Well, let's make sure we answer questions, and then I'll jump ahead. Hello from Ohio. Donna says, I now have an extract cabinet, and I think I may have a problem. No, this is not an addiction. This is not bad. This is just a passion. It's a hobby. And everybody deserves to have a hobby, right? And so for us, it's just a hobby. So it's not an addiction. We need a scratch and sniff button, says Jennifer Briggs. Oh my gosh. Hold it up to the computer here and just kind of like push the air through. I couldn't agree with you more. And then after removing the cocoa nibs, can you just turn the jar on its side? Asked Sharon. That's a great question, Sharon. I think in the case though of this jar, we'll do it for you. Well, they are. Let me get on the other than the label side.
They are submerged.
They are submerged.
A little bit still coming out.
A little bit still coming out, but that's a great idea.
It is. If
I don't
you
know,
want
though.
to add, I think I would just add the rum. You're so far out.
You're
then
still
you'll
9
have
months
more
away.
Extract, yeah.
And even if you wanted to throw in another bean, you could. And there, I don't know. Am I the only one? Like, there's something about leaving a jar sideways on my counter that scares me to death. Maybe it's my old parenting with my 2 boys running around. I'm like, I don't know why that scares me, but it does submerge them.
Right?
So that does work. That's a great idea for anyone that wants to just keep the alcohol level the same. Once your extract is ready to use, what's next? You put it in another jar to use in other recipes. Ask Trish. You do. So if you look on our website, look under mother jars. That's a great place to begin. You take the beans out, put them in your mother jar, and then you've got an extract bottle. You can take your big bottle, put them in little bottles to use. This is our favorite. This is our current extract that we're using right now.
This is Indonesian.
This is Indonesian in rum.
Yep. And so there are no beans in here. We took out the beans. I actually made powder, and we'll talk about that a little bit
We're going to
later.
talk about sugar next. Yep.
Yeah, but I made powder out of the beans that were in here.
Yep. Why can't I share this page, says Deidre. You can, at the very top of our group, there's an invite button. You're allowed to invite your friends to this group, and so just click on the invite button. Any other question? I thought when you add the liquor by topping it off that you were technically starting over. It's all about chemistry. And so, yes, if we filled the whole thing up, you're starting over, but you've already got, in this case, 9/10 of it is already made, and you're just putting a little bit on top. So by definition of perfect extract, it will extend the amount of time, but marginally. So on something like this, and you can kind of see just the little heads peeking up above the water or above the alcohol, adding in a little Bacardi, I don't think that it's going to extend it that much more. It's kind of, scientifically, your question's correct. Does it work in practice? We've topped ours up many, many times,
On
and it
our
works
mother
just fine.
jars, I do it all the time. I'll just add a little bit, and I'll still use it just because there's so much of the extract that's ready, and all I do is add just a titch on the top. You don't even notice.
Cocoa nibs, where do we get them? If you look at our previous videos, we go over the cocoa nibs, where we got them. We'll leave that there so we can keep moving here.